They say, oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. The people go out to vote, no fear, no more. Vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. If you wanna keep America great, vote for Trump. I vote for Trump. Let's go. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
I don't believe in fake news. All I need is the truth. Because we love our country. We love it just like you. Economy.
For Trump.
Life is good.
For Trump.
Because we love our country. We love it just like you.
Oh my.
That's kind of a circle, a white circle. That's a halo. If you move,
Well, I have God on my side.
yeah. Perfect, actually.
We have God on our side.
Yes.
I keep putting Captain America stuff.
Yo, you made it.
He's in the car.
You look like Jericho.
Yeah.
Lee. Jericho.
Why in the
wife.
car, Hermano?
Because I got to pick up my wife. I'm her personal Uber driver.
Dude, we gotta argue this properly, man. You can't do it in the car, man. Oh, come on. So wait, so if we win in the argument, you're gonna drive away or run over some trooper or something, right?
Well, it's not about winning or losing an argument. It's about
No,
having
it's about winning.
it's about decent discussion.
It's about winning. I'm just joking. You're right.
Is that Steven? Where's Steve?
Pleasure to meet you, buddy.
Oh, is it
Likewise,
first time?
man.
What are
We go at each other at Facebook.
Not really. I would love to, but I don't think we do.
You're both talking
Yeah,
past each other. I think that's what the problem is, you know? Yeah.
No, you can have wine when I can have wine. What's with the Chris? What's with the wine, brother?
Nah, it's
He's
whiskey.
not drinking wine.
How you doing, man?
So get,
Well, that's your brother's
I got off the phone about an hour ago with our friend.
Ah,
He
sure.
can.
Yeah. He cursed out my family big time. He called me a sellout. He called me, they were beautiful.
Who's this?
Who do you think, man?
Why is he so angry all the time?
Yeah, he
Why
called
Why
me.
is he angry?
Yeah.
Oh man, he's
Born angry.
passionate. He's passionate. He's passionate.
Well, tell him
passionate.
But what does that mean, though?
Tell him to be passionate for Trump and saving the community, man. And, you know, put him.
Was
in
he passionate that America, he got 5 Ivy League degrees?
Say hello to my wife here, man.
Hey, how are you? Oh my God, I remember I read your stuff. Did you ever continue writing that?
What?
Which
stuff?
one? Which
What are you
one?
talking about, man?
Which
It
one?
was
Indeed,
it started
part
off
two.
with you're describing the waves on the cliffs.
Oh, that's right.
Dude, this is not. You know that, right?
I know that.
No.
Do you remember? I
That's a
shared
good
her
one.
writing, and she sent the writing. And you said, "Could you please critique my wife's writing?" Remember?
It was a while ago.
No.
Dude, man, that's awesome. Awesome, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
so
right,
you
so
actually
you
read
picked
it.
up your wife here?
I should read
Wait, what did you write? What was it? Oh, you're talking about is. Right?
Is.
It was very beautiful. Yeah, it was. It was very deep, artsy, and
I think she should.
Yeah, it was.
it really was. I remember that, Chris.
I think she should do a collection of short stories just like that. You know, some Celtic stuff.
Why not?
Now that you lot are destroying Western civilization, I think it's important to save these Celtic Nordic stories, man.
Yeah.
Wait, what time is it over there, Chris? Chris, what time is it over there?
It'll be like the movie Fahrenheit 451. Everyone memorizes a book.
Yeah.
Books are banned, right?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
actually reading.
He will be at the forefront of burning the books.
She's reading it
No,
now.
you
I'm
won't.
reading Fahrenheit 451 right now.
Great.
Yeah.
The only book we'll allow would be like Savior, Savior, Hold My Hand,
Yeah. Period
Down the
comments. Yeah.
or When I Was Puerto Rican.
Yeah. That's what I tell them, man. There's only so many times you can read the autobiography of Malcolm X and Down These Mean Streets, man. Dude, you got to pick out Dante and Shakespeare at some point or something, man. I mean, come on. Man.
How about some Candide?
A little Twain or Moby Dick, man. I mean, come on now. The funny thing is, at Cornell, I was far more left than all of these brothers, okay? Number one. Number two, I'm the one, I was the one who was carrying the torch for Ujima, where I lived for I lived my whole life in Ujima. My Ithaca life was all in Ujima, all right? You hear this, bro?
Yeah.
Dude, I was the one, all right, talking Black Power and, the revolution and all that, okay, with my fists up, pounding the air with my fist. Believe that? And I was the one who was, taking Africanic class after Africanic class. That's why I lost, 5 years of an education, you see? My first 5 years are done, all right? I had to make up for it ever since.
You and your father used to go at it.
For
You
4
can't
years.
His father
denigrate
was in the military.
I'm just playing.
all our experiences.
I'm just playing.
All our experiences. All right, you know where I was going with this, right? All our experiences gather who we are now, whether positive or negative.
I hear you.
You know that.
Dude, if this gets heated between
So
you
I was
guys,
listening.
I don't want you to have an accident. So you got to chill out.
Yeah.
You should park the car first, brother.
I'm good, brother.
right.
I'm the master of multitasking.
Where's your computer? On your foot? I mean, how are you zooming? It's so.
No, you guys are on the left. You're on my iPad, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but is it balanced?
see.
But is it balanced on the tip of your? You're doing this, man. It's
Oh
weird.
my God.
I know.
But, dude, that's the angle,
It's
here,
like,
man.
All right.
I've got to cut that.
And your wife is here. I can't. What's the matter with you?
I know he gets a little weird once in a while.
You guys are cousins, right?
Yeah.
Yes, first cousins.
Yeah, but
Our
we're-
mothers were sisters.
Yeah, but we're first LUL hermanos. So you got to remember that. Right? Hey man,
All
let
right,
me ask you.
so,
Let me ask. This is important. Why would we not want to join us? I don't get that because I'm, very big. This is the Westerner that I am here. Big on debate.
He'll smash the computer.
No, but you see what I'm saying? I mean, I think with debate. No, come on, guys. I support
Now you're serious.
the marketplace of ideas, and that if it's done properly, that good ideas will rise to the fore, and we'll all be the better of it. I mean, for goodness sake, I don't understand why people like him will, troll me for years without going and not clarifying. We might actually agree on a lot of things, but just not making the effort and taking the risk to clarify it. And we might, which would only take about a half an hour or so, or whatever. Anyway, I don't understand that.
I think the divide is too vast. The divide is too vast.
But we don't know
The
that.
divide
is
Just
vast.
the water. I don't get that.
This is the funny thing about me. Look, Chris, Steve, I may not agree with a lot of things, especially what you would call the right. And I don't agree with a lot of things of what you would call the left. However, I understand both sides. That's the crazy thing. I understand it. I understand it a little too clear to realize, there is some common group. We can come to the middle. If people would just start reading the freaking books that are out there and stop listening to pundits and their opinions and think that that's the law.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's out there.
I agree. And what I would say is this isn't the America of 15 years ago, even 20 years ago, where a vast number of people would agree, hey, America is a great country. It is good for the rest of the world. It has contributed more than any other country in the last century. France, you were being, the center of everything, turn of the century. But there's those that really want to blow it all up, that hate Judeo-Western societies, and they hate Western culture. They think capitalism is oppressive, even though if we look at facts, capitalism has taken 80% of people out of poverty just in the last 40 years. I mean, Bernie Sanders says we should follow China. Well, China followed us, especially when Nixon opened them for trade, and thus maybe 90% of Chinese were living up less than $2 a day. In 1970, now it's down to 8%. So
Which is why they need Hong Kong. They need Hong Kong. That's why they're not going to let go of Hong Kong. I mean,
well, they want to turn it into a place that they could control, of course. And China is a modern day fascist, right? Because they're ruled by the old line communists, but they'll let some economic policies and business to prosper, right? But at their own beck and call. It's up to you It's up to them to tell you how they want you to present your company there. They'll own your company, but you'll get rich.
Well, guys, let's not bounce around.
Okay.
Let's try to be a little bit directed here. Stephen, why don't you lay out your reasons for why we support Trump, and then we can go back and forth on that. Does that
I
sound
have
good?
a list that I
Tommy, does that
conjured
sound
up
good?
last night.
Edmondo.
Honestly, I conjured this
Is
up
this,
last
hold on.
night.
Is this the list that you were supposed to send to me? Months
No,
Well, I've been
no.
waiting for your list for months.
Wait. Well, with all due respect, why do we have the burden to justify ourselves, and it's never the other way around? That's what I find.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Tell me why, Edmondo. You support Trump. And crypto.
No. This is something that Steve and I have been going back and forth.
I never.
Oh,
But I thought-
you mean you guys?
Look.
All right. I thought you meant me.
But I
Steve and
thought-
have been talking about different issues, and then
Yes, sir.
it would always come down to, could you please tell me why you support Trump? And we were talking about other issues. I said, dude, you didn't answer that. I said, dude, and he'll tell me, dude, I gave you a whole bunch of questions to ask you. So we've been going back and forth.
All right, so let's forget that, which I don't recall being
All
asked.
right, guys, this is a reset, and I want you guys to lay out the differences between the
Yeah, all right, let me go.
Or see what you agree, okay?
Okay, and you comment on every, let me just finish each point, then you comment. Okay, number one, this is off the top of
Wait,
my head.
Steven, bring your camera down. I see nothing but chin for some reason.
Oh, my chin is huge.
The top of your head.
Yeah, all right, a little bit better. Yeah.
My chin is huge. I was going to ask Hermano if he had a plastic surgeon I could speak to. Okay, reasons for Trump. And comment after I'm finished.
Yeah.
This is obvious. He's fought the bias forces of the media. 94% of his coverage is negative. Hollywood's against him, academia, and both political parties. I mean, we heard these never Trumpers. It's obvious a prior administration was against him, the FBI, CIA, NSA.
I do have to interject with that one because
Go ahead.
that's not a good argument off the bat because it depends on who we're talking about. If someone like if someone like Joseph Mengele were running for office, then you would expect the media to be biased against that person, right?
Okay.
You're saying it's
wait.
not fair. You're saying that.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. And you didn't
No,
let
but
me
I'm just saying,
finish.
but we can't expect the media, because I have a problem with that. We can't expect the media to be balanced. That actually
Well, they're
balanced,
not even close to being balanced.
but it
You don't hear
it
anything
should
positive.
not be balanced because balance is not the object. The object should be free thought and critical evaluation.
I concur.
If you
I'm
freely
just saying-
think and you critically think, let me just say, and you're dealing with someone
Okay, listen, Primos.
well, let me just say, who is a true
Primos.
racist, then that would be okay.
Wait,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Steve, I need to hear your list. Let him
All right, go
continue,
ahead.
and then
Yeah,
let's
that's what I'm
comment on each one.
Okay.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. We know that Brennan, McCabe, Hillary lied under oath. And what happens to someone like McCabe? He gets employed by CNN. The Horowitz report showed 17 inaccuracies about obtaining the FISA warrant. They were all against Trump. You want to respond to that, or you want me to go down the list?
Well, these are the reasons why you support Trump. And you start off with
Yes.
that one of the main reasons why you support Trump is because the media is against him. I want to hear what has he done? What has he said that you feel, that's a good thing. I'm going to support that guy because he's done this.
My point. Very good point. They all come to that right now. Okay, the Trump doctrine, number 2, no foreign wars. The media was touting that he was going to go to war with Korea. He was going to fight Syria. He was going to fight Russia. There's been no foreign wars. He hasn't put any more troops out there. I mean, that's fantastic. What do you think of that?
Oh, that's a major accomplishment. In other words, he's flown in the face of the neocon, right? Policy and idea. Okay. How can you fight that?
In turn,
I think we've had the most peaceful administration since Ford, or would you go prior to Ford? Nixon, because Nixon took troops out of Vietnam. Probably Nixon, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Now I couldn't compare the two, or with other ones. I'm not exactly sure. Now I'm going to skip that. In turn, has him nominated for 4 Nobel Peace Prizes.
Well,
Number 1, he's been nominated by a member of the Norwegian Parliament because he brokered peace between Israel and the United Emirates. Okay. Number 2, his second peace prize, he was nominated by Swedish Parliament because of peace between Serbia and Kosovo. The third prize, an Australian law professor, He touted the Trump doctrine and the Israel UAE peace deal. And number 4.
I think he's off. He's offline.
Okay, well, number 4, Laura Hutsari is a Finnish member of parliament, and she said Trump should be nominated.
I think he crashed. Hold on.
Okay.
I think he crashed.
Oh,
You got him already? Dude, did you crash?
Okay.
What happened?
You
You're
all right?
offline, man.
no,
Are you hearing me here?
Starting
I
at
hear everything.
Okay, he's hearing everything.
Yeah, I got everything.
The fourth reason why he was nominated for the prize, he could still hear, Chris, is Laura Hutsari is a Finnish member of parliament who said it's amazing that he served almost a complete term without starting a war. Number 2, withdrawing thousands of troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. 3, full diplomatic relations between Israel and the UAE. And 4, maintain national cohesion and secured law and order by taking a strong stand against detrimental social movements. I guess he probably means Antifa and BLM.
Yeah. Fair
Okay.
enough. Yeah. Did you mention the peace deals?
I just gave you the 4 reasons why he was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize.
What again did he broker a deal with? I mean,
Okay.
I was quite shocked that recently he just brokered a deal with Sudan, I think. Sudan.
Go ahead. You want to comment on that?
Guys, yeah, because those Nobel Peace Prizes are based on what he allegedly was accomplishing in the Middle East, from my understanding. And he initiated a policy, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, where he encouraged Israel to take whatever land was on the Gaza Strip and to start settling it. And that was a bone of contention with them and Palestine. And once Trump went ahead and supported that, it was like a blip on the news in January of last year, 2019. Oh, no, 2020, early this year. Right after the COVID started and all that, it was like a blip in the news. And then that was the same issue that was relinquished as a bargain, as a big chip that they were giving up in the middle. So, not to say, we're going to just not, settle the Middle East. And like, that was a big concession. I said, what, are you kidding me? It wasn't a real concession, especially if you were told to go ahead and do it. So that was this is a classic move when businessmen try to negotiate. You create something that you're willing to give up. There wasn't even something you were actually. I
don't see the distinction. Are you saying that he's using the offices and the style of a businessman or the techniques of a businessman?
Yes, and that's
what's wrong with that? But let me just say that's precisely why we like him, because he's the non-politician politician. That's exactly why we like the idea that he came outside of the establishment and has not stopped fighting the entire establishment, the military-industrial intelligence community, and the entire media, and all of Hollywood, and also academia.
Who cares about Hollywood?
I can speak very personally.
Why do you keep mentioning Hollywood?
And wait.
Hollywood has nothing to do with this.
Has everything to, for you to say that is quite shocking.
Lady Gaga's
How many things? No. In terms of, oh my goodness, when I see the programming of Netflix, when I see you can vouch for this. What in the world do you see ever in favor of either him, okay, as his person, him as his policies, or the culture with which has grabbed the passion, inflamed the passion of people in the Trump movement, from the protection of families to the protection of the church to the civil liberties that have been laid out, the eternal truths of the Bill of Rights. We're going to say, well, what's that for? I don't understand.
Time out.
Take a deep breath.
No, screw that deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Screw that. Just say what you got to say.
Chris is passionate.
No, time out.
That's why I wanted to, man, so we could duke it out, man, and then we'll continue, on the gridiron.
Take a deep breath.
Go ahead. Screw it. Just say what you got to say.
You want to know why?
You speak the way you want to speak. I speak the way I want to speak. Man.
You and I had an extensive conversation after Trump won. I think you remember that conversation.
No, I don't remember.
You and I talked.
Yeah. Okay.
We got on the phone.
Yeah, okay.
And we talked.
It's not a good way to argue. Just say what you got to say. I don't remember.
No.
Everyone says it about me. I speak all day long with many people. Just say what you got to say, man.
You even mentioned in your email you talked in several years, but we talked about
Holy, this guy. Dude, man, I'm not going to argue on your terms. Just say what you got to say, all right? Please.
Go ahead. Come on.
Come on, get out.
Trump's. You want to talk about why? Why do you think people don't like Trump?
We're not going to jump
He
around to
came
that.
off
Okay,
with this very. You have to.
Wait, can we
You're
stick
the
to...
one who kept saying everyone's against him. Everyone's saying all these things about Trump, and yet, why do you
Now,
think that started? He started
obviously,
with a very
Well,
he
it's the
started
media.
off.
obviously
He
not.
started
Obviously not everyone.
He started off on a very anti-traditional argument
Right.
about the Mexicans, about the Arabs, about people who are they're thieves, they're bad people coming into our country. Hold on. You want to know where it started. So what do you think?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Like,
You're trying to say that he's a wrecking ball to correctness, of course. And that's one of the reasons why half the country and much of the world.
That's my sixth
vouch
point.
as a
He's
friend.
anti-politically
Why we
correct.
support, and some even
That's my
love him
sixth point.
to the level that I've never seen in politics. Never in democratic politics, with the exception of Putin for some strange reason. But anyway, guys.
Well, that's my sixth point. May I say one thing?
Yeah.
This all goes to my first point. The media has lied. Now, I do remember that speech, and in my opinion, it was very outlandish. It was so far out there because you never heard someone who was running for president speak that way, and I think it was coarse and wrong.
Honestly,
Wait,
glibly, too.
hold on.
Go ahead.
Let me get- But he did say, I am worried about the Mexicans that are coming across the border. They're not sending their best and brightest, which unfortunately is true. I don't think there are too many guys with engineering degrees who are trying to cross the Rio Grande. And I'm not mocking that. It's sad to see. But the media has blown this out, man. I mean, they have. And we could talk about the double standard with Biden, some of the things he did. But when we keep talking about racism, Trump is a racist. What does that mean? I mean, because I've been hearing it. I've also been hearing the comparisons with Hitler, and it's outrageous.
And we've all had that aspersion cast against us simply for going against the grain of the zeitgeist of correctness. Okay, and I can talk very personally about this in and outside of a classroom, in and outside of a legal practice. Well, even leftist lawyering as well too. God forbid you say something that's against the expectations of this orthodoxy about law and politics and culture and history and so on and so forth, then you're a crypto-fascist, as our beloved brother said to me, and the way he cursed out the rest of my family here, simply because he didn't either follow the argument or he didn't want to respect the argument. But all right, go ahead, guys. Go answer that one, please. All right. There's nothing wrong in questioning.
Do you believe Trump is Hitler?
That's what I'm saying.
no, Hitler is Hitler.
Okay. No, okay, but many on your side try to make that comparison,
What side do you think
which is
I'm on?
disgusting.
It
What
doesn't
side
matter.
do you
It
think
doesn't
I'm
matter.
on?
We'll
Do not
find
put
out at
me
the
in a
end.
box.
Okay,
Do not
we
put
know
me in
what
a
side.
box.
Okay.
Okay,
Don't put
all
me in
right.
a box.
Let me
Don't
go
do
down.
that.
Let me go down my list again. Number 6. Now remember, I'm giving you my point of view on why I like Trump and some of his accomplishments. Chris, you already brought up political correctness, so we'll knock that out.
No,
I agree
flush it
1,000%.
out if you like. Flush it out in your
No,
own.
I agree 1,000%, because forever the Democrats are the ones who initiate, and then when you hit them back, then they complain.
Yeah.
I've seen it my whole life.
Here's a perfect
It's so
example.
ridiculous.
Can I give you a perfect example that's incredibly deadly that we're facing now? So we had someone who was on their knees praying in a Catholic cathedral in Nice, and someone came behind and lopped her head off, and then
Right.
put a knife, I think, in the priest. And then there was another
Killed
priest
3 people.
2 days ago as well too. Okay,
Yeah.
an Orthodox priest was shot and now he's paralyzed. Okay, and then there was another attack on police on that day in Avignon by another person saying Allah Akbar. So we can imagine, right? And that was on the back of another. Steve, what happened?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
listening.
Okay.
Once
And
again,
that was on the back of another professor in Lycée who inflamed the situation by publishing something from Charlie Hebdo, that was very, very offensive to the Prophet Muhammad. You gotta couch arguments in the right way. Anyway, he was inflammatory and he got a response, and a Chechen family cut his head off, and this is where this all began. But this is a perfect example. So people are under siege here. Particularly, there's a particular group here, and I'm sorry, you tell me if I'm wrong here.
No, it's
Christians who historically, considered France as the first daughter of Christendom, and it's unbelievable. We have to go to church now. If they allow us to go to church, so you could protest as much as you like, but now we're under lockdown and we can't go to church anymore. But when we can, there's an army of police in front of the church to protect us just in case. What a scenario here. It's quite a fear. And just a couple of days ago, after they killed the professor, the Prime Minister of Malaysia said that millions of French people must die for the way that they've blasphemed blasphemed the prophet.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the point that I'm making here is Erdogan of Turkey. He just said that that the Europeans, and by the way, there's before an image of the American flag being burned, so they consider America part of the European, sphere. The Europeans are waging a new crusade against Islam. See how they seize the language inappropriately, as if they're the victims in this particular case. Okay, not
and how many churches have been?
But this is just
how
what
many
we call.
Churches have been vandalized in France.
They burnt down Notre Dame. We could talk about the
600?
facts behind Notre Dame and who's responsible for that. I mean, it's so perfectly obvious that they most likely used a nanothermite painting when they were a typical scenario when they were working on the rafters, right? Construction work. This is old wood that goes back 1,000 years. It doesn't catch on flame very easily, but this went up in flames in a couple of minutes.
But there was even an investigation, an independent investigation, and it was thermite that they found.
And there was thermite, just like in
how many churches have been vandalized in France?
Many hundreds. Yes.
600, at least 600.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how many.
So in terms of correctness, what I'm saying is,
what it is.
in terms of correctness, what correctness is essentially what Orwell was talking about in terms of newspeak, in relation to the idea of objective truths. Okay, but anyway, go ahead. So they manipulate the language for political purposes, is what I'm saying here. Anyway, you want to continue with your list, man? Yeah.
Well, I think Steve was talking about political correctness.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of political correctness either. And especially when it goes to the extent of going a little bit overboard, like what you can or can't say, and I don't agree with that at all.
Exactly. Okay. Fair enough. Good.
And just because someone said something doesn't mean that. And again, to the point about the media and Trump, I've actually spoken out about people taking what he said out of context. Like there was something that he said, and then the news they'll just go with that little snippet.
Charlottesville's been taken out of context.
Well, he'll say something, and then I'm like, but that's not what he said. I'm going to give you another example. After the last debate, they start talking about how Melania threw his hand away, threw Trump's hand away. And look, she rejected his hand. I'm like, that's not what happened. If you watch it, he was holding her hand. It just simply, he let it go. I'm like, why would they do that? And I didn't like that. Those little things are like they're trying to create a narrative about him. Again, I always tell people, get him for what he actually said and done. Don't start making things up. And I don't like it when people take these little things and then run with it as if Trump is now the hyperbole. I don't agree with hyperbole.
Okay,
actions carry more weight. Wait, guys. Say one thing. Well, if we're talking actions carry more weight, yes. I can't conceivably see how someone could say Trump is a racist. We grew up with him in New York our whole life. Yeah, exactly. We've seen him with Jesse Jackson, Mike Tyson, Herschel Walker. Yeah. He was like the first guy to start hanging in the Hamptons with rappers. P. Diddy's hanging with him. Busta Rhymes.
How many careers did he support as well, too, in boxing and in football, for goodness sake? I mean, come on, this is ridiculous.
Oh, wait, hold on. And now let's just talk truth.
Wait, and by the way,
African American community.
Yeah, and by the way, let me just say, he was never this crypto fascist racist and I've heard CNN say he's worse than Mao Zedong, Stalin, Pol Pot, and Hitler combined.
He was celebrated by all these guys.
I mean, up until 2016, I mean, he got a civil rights award from Jesse Jackson along with Rosa Parks. I mean, for goodness' sake,
I think we would be better off.
Loved him, but anyway, go ahead, man.
I think we would be better off not listening to the opinion pieces of CNN or Fox, because when you hear those both sides, the opinion pieces suck because it's clear, like Don Lemon, it's clear, Chris Cuomo, it's clear from Tucker, it's clear from Hannity. they are clear, like left, right. It's not conducive
Hannity
to
is.
good
I
conversation.
think Tucker's more fair than all of them by far.
Well, from what I heard, I've actually sat and listened.
Well, I just want to say, look, Trump with the African American community, before the Chinese virus, unemployment was the lowest ever for them. Empowerment zones he created, jail reform, and funding for black colleges that are guaranteed for the next 10 years. That's why I asked the question, what is racist? And if you're a racist and you had power, wouldn't you relish the opportunity to discriminate against somebody? And it's the complete opposite. Why do these things?
Right.
Why do these things? You could say, oh, to get a vote. Really? He's going to put that much time and energy to it? I don't think so.
Everything under heaven should be judged by way of action over words, particularly when it comes to politics, for goodness sake. Don't you think? I mean,
Right.
You tell me. So, I mean, it's a
Hey,
wonderful...
Chris, are you recording this?
Yeah, I am, actually.
Yeah, we don't have to put it out if you don't want, bro.
Come on now.
No, come on now. That's hilarious. Okay, now I'm looking through Trump's eyes here, right?
Yeah, so you should stop...
Trump supporter, I'm happy.
This guy doesn't let me talk. So I said, Edmano, stop picking your nose on camera. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Okay. Before the virus, the economy was healthy. I think you could compare it to one of the strongest periods we've ever had, 1958. There was a milestone for jobs, incomes, and stock prices. This is from the Wall Street Journal, Jan Hillerath, October 14th, 2020. I like that he fought for the drug pandemic. He spent $27.8 billion in drug control efforts, prevention, treatment, law enforcement. This is from the American Academy of Addiction Psychiatry. I was hearing about all these problems these kids had with prescription drugs when my cousin went to school in Boston, my other cousin, about 10 years ago. And Trump's doing something about it. I didn't hear Obama do anything about it. Okay? Chris, we're going to talk about how we fought against China and the trade imbalances. I know it's not just a trade imbalance, but it's not fair trade. There's a multitude of arguments.
I want my wife to address this as a French woman and how she's worried about, what China is doing politically, economically, and culturally, and also in terms of civil and human rights in Europe. Look, the bottom line is, if this man goes, okay, whether you like the cut of his jib or not, the color of his skin or what have you, his mannerisms, it doesn't matter in the end. If he goes, it's all lost. China wins.
Yeah, Western culture. Tell him.
Exaggeration to this. And we're going to have the totalitarian nightmare that all the dystopian writers have been talking about for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Please talk, Flo.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You're shy. Go. Flo, please. What's your perspective as a French person?
Well, I think what's happening now in France and most of Europe, they're not Democrats per se, but they're left. They're people on the left. In the EU, they're people on the left. Macron is, even though for communications reasons, he said he was neither right nor left, he's always been left. He came out as a lefty. And he was in the Hollande government, which was left as well.
But the implication is what?
That's
the whole point.
The advice that he gets from the health minister, it's a guy who's left, who, by the way, was awarded the Young Leader Award from the French China Foundation.
Yeah, but
May
I say one thing? I'll just say one thing and I'll shut up. Wait. When you say left, let me just say one thing and I'm going to shut up 2 seconds.
Yes.
When you say left, you're basically implying that the French government is taking care of foreigners more than the French people. You guys are just pushed aside.
Typically, they tend to favor, foreigners coming in. So he's a globalist, and so he believes that we should have an completely equal and open policy to foreigners coming in, including illegals. The policies are always
an open border policy
to naturalize as many illegals as possible. And
That's what Biden
they
wants to
have-
do,
and
20
they have
million.
very much no overlook on the type of people who come in from abroad.
But it's more than that. Isn't he seeking to
And
just...
also,
No, I'm trying to say something.
yes, under was that the Clinton era? That was I forgot if it was the Clinton era, but definitely under the Obama era, there were more and more treaties that were signed to allow more and more Chinese products coming in to France and Europe in general. And so,
Well, what does this pose? I'm trying to get to the point here of,
yes.
of the sovereignty of France. And the health of France.
Well, what happens is so many companies, French companies, have closed down because they could not compete with the Chinese market. I mean, we have normal salaries. The Chinese have very low salaries. And so we just cannot compete because the products they sell are super cheap. And so
They're dumping their products in China, in France.
People don't know, but listen, so people would buy those Chinese products. All the French companies closed down as a result.
Called dumping product, yeah.
Yeah. And these are products that you buy, they break after a day. It doesn't matter. They're so cheap.
Yeah, but Flo, I want you to cut to the chase. Are we saying that they're looking to destroy the sovereignty of France, Flo, in favor of a larger and enlarged?
It will, whether they want it or not, it will.
It's happening.
It will break France because especially with the coronavirus. Just imagine we're under lockdown. Restaurants and bars have no authorization to open. It's been like this. They've closed down for 2 months, and now they're closing down again for another month or maybe 2 months. We don't know yet, but definitely a month. So that's 3 months without revenue whatsoever. And so what happens?
They want you to rely on the government, a Green New Deal.
Well, I don't know what they want, but definitely it will come to that. And so when all these companies fail, the Chinese will buy up everything. Not just the Chinese, by the way. The Qataris, the Saudi Arabians, that's what happens.
With this lockdown, what happened in Lille?
Well, Lille is it's not a big city. It's an
how many
average
bars
city.
and cafes have closed down?
But recently they found out that there were 26 bars and restaurants that had closed down.
That's completely devastating.
Already before the lockdown, you have to understand, before the lockdown, most of the brasseries in France have been brought up by the Chinese, and that's without a price drop in those companies. Now just imagine with all these companies closing down, the Chinese will buy them up. That's a definite. The Chinese.
What about the welfare state? If I'm an illegal and I come into China, didn't you tell me they're giving you an apartment in the greatest part of town and food stamps? Tell me.
Well, you mean
if I'm a refugee, what is happening to the welfare state if I'm a refugee and I come to China?
You do have some help.
No, they're entitled to every
refugee.
They're entitled to every benefit.
Not every benefit. No.
I thought they have a special net for people.
They have a net. They have a net. It's a refugee net, but it's different from a local net. It's not more money. It's less money, but it's still a net.
Okay, fine.
And what does that mean? I get free housing.
That means they can start a living. They have a hard time, mind you, because it's still a low amount of money.
Guys, can I cut to the chase?
Okay, hold on.
Let me cut to the chase. Is there an existential threat against France because of globalist policies that look to be in alignment? Okay, that's what I want you to. No, that's what we're trying to say here. Okay. And what does Trump mean to France? To you as a proud French woman, what does he mean to you?
Okay, Trump, because it's the United States, it's not just Brazil, it's not
even Belgium.
It's not Belgium. Okay, Trump in the States, he's the president of the biggest country and the most influential country in the world.
Biggest economy.
No, biggest economy. Well, yeah, okay.
Biggest economy,
definitely our most influential country
Yes.
in the Western world.
Yes.
We know.
Okay, and so as a result, since he's the voice of opposition,
Sorry, she's a slow talker. It
he's the
drives me
voice
crazy.
of opposition.
Drives me nuts.
She's fine. She's fine. I'm listening.
He's
Shut up already. Good.
Okay, he's the voice of opposition compared to everyone that we have in the EU, for instance. They all left. They all have the same speech, and we're seeing the result of them and their policies. And Trump, because he's from the States and he's in the States and having the
Symbolizes autonomy. Everyone else symbolizes this group thing, right?
not only that,
He's autonomous.
Anti-establishment. He comes out
Yes.
as a
He's sovereign.
non-politician.
Let me just say this.
He comes out as an entrepreneur and who came out as a politician,
guys,
but not
He
naturally.
symbolizes sovereignty, being independent,
That's what,
And
not dealing with the
and
UN
yes-
and the other group.
Exactly. He's a nationalist. And
in a
so,
good sense. I mean, not all nationalism is bad, for goodness sake.
Okay,
But anyway,
he's a nationalist,
he def-
a nationalist in terms
tell
of
me if I'm wrong.
of putting a nation first. And because he's the only nationalist in the Western world, I think, that has so much power. That's why a lot of people want a change of government. They kind of hope for Trump to win because they think that he's going to stay on the same line, and everyone hopes so in the sense that he's going to stay on the same line of defending a nation, as opposed to defending a world where everything has been sold to foreign entities like China.
Infiltration.
Arabia,
Tell me if I'm wrong here. Trump defends three key ideas in the world. And if he goes, I think the floodgates will be opened, and that will be probably it because of the weight that he generates as the leader of the most important. And
What are the 3 points, Chris?
Yeah, what are the three? I want to hear this.
That would be the idea of the nation state, which is the greatest organizing principle the world has ever seen, politically speaking. No, I'll say 4 points. Capitalism, okay, and its connection to free enterprise as much as we have it. Now, we don't have a perfectly laissez-faire system. We know that. It has to be balanced with the social net, which is what we have. We've had that since at least the New Deal, and even prior when it came to the welfare capitalist period to the turn of the century, okay? Number 3 is Christendom, okay, and the idea of eternal moral truths and the idea of facts that are objective, not only subjective, but some of which may be objective.
In France, if I can say, most people are atheists. So
Okay, let me
for
finish.
Christians,
I'm just saying, but this is how important he is. Wait,
he
let me
may
just finish.
defend it, but the French don't. I mean, even
But
the
some
ones,
French do.
the groups that I'm with.
But all of the French
A
thinking
lot
comes
of them
from that.
are atheists.
And he's also a wrecking ball, or we can say a mirror to the horrors and absurdity, not all of which, but most of which I can talk very personally about that when we guys have more time, about the ravages of political correctness. For example,
And the New World Government, Chris.
Okay.
As Michael Savage says, borders, language, and culture.
Okay, fine.
You have a right to
But
be
when it
sovereign.
comes to political correctness, a good example of which is the inanity of the idea of a perfect fluidity of gender. That genders are chosen as opposed to, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I have yet to see a brother from LUL give birth to a baby. I don't think they even came close. I mean, come on. Certain things are naturally inscripted, and that's it. Anyway,
And
Steve,
it seems that under him, a lot of corruption affairs are coming out. A lot of people are saying he's
first of all,
supposed to be draining the swamp.
hold on. No offense to Chris and Steve, but I really like her accents. I don't mind hearing her.
Yeah.
It's sexy. That's what
You want to say something else?
No, I mean, look. Policy-wise, and I understand your point, Chris. Those at least 3 of those 4 points, I understand what Trump seems to stand for on a world level. I do not agree that floodgates of change is going to happen if he loses.
I
Trump
think,
as a
I think so. I think so.
No,
Wait,
hold
let
on.
him finish.
I don't believe that that's going to happen. I believe that the capitalist system in this country is way too entrenched for it to be upended by a socialist or Marxist leftist kind of change that'll happen. And I said this to Steve before on Facebook. If this country were ever to be socialist in any way, it could have happened or should have happened in 1932 when the Great Depression and in the early when the oh shit, hold on, I'm losing battery power. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
You did that on
Shit,
purpose.
everything went black.
Yeah, I know. Biden used to do that.
Go ahead.
When he
No,
loses
in
the
the turn
argument.
of the century. In the turn of the century, those are like ripe opportunities. And there was at one point when even when FDR was voted in, they wanted him to rule like Stalin.
That's a fallacious argument because
What do you mean?
you're saying if socialism did. I don't understand that argument. If something doesn't work in
Hold
the
on,
past,
let me explain it. Let me explain it before you try to ramp over me like this. I admire your passion, Chris, and your passion is very it's commendable. But we can't have a discussion if you think that somebody's ideas may be, maybe not in the same level as yours.
I'm not
Just
saying
let's
that.
flesh it out.
Come on, stop.
Let's flesh it out. Let's flesh it out, man.
That's what I'm here for. No.
Okay, but
My
but
style
I
is
said
different than your
something.
style, man.
This is
Dude,
the
I'm
third time I said
I'm not
something.
judging you, man. Just get it out.
No. I'm not taking it as a judgment. It's the third time I said something, and you ramped up your voice and your arguments to try to say, no.
You
can't hear what you're saying.
No judgment here,
All right.
man. Okay.
How can I hear what you're saying? I heard those points. I heard your points, and I said, okay, yeah, I can see from that perspective why Trump does have a positive influence. Now, the problem I'm having with Trump, which is what the whole discussion was really about, is that he doesn't do, and he had a great opportunity when he first came on to truly unite the United States and truly state he did. He did, Stephen.
He was being vilified. Can I say one thing? I could say one thing. It is my damn show. I'm kidding, Tom. He did say, Tom, he was vilified from the beginning. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
He had every opportunity. If you have the mic, to the most powerful mic in the world, why didn't he come out and say, I'm here to represent all of America?
He said that many a time. He said
No, brother, he never.
First of all, wait.
No.
Either you start.
How
Wait,
do
let
you
him go.
start? How do you think he would have had the opportunity to do it?
Say again?
How do you think he would have had the opportunity to do
Well,
it?
Well, let's start off with his inauguration speech.
Yeah.
His inauguration speech when he talked about the ruin of this country. And this country wasn't in a bad shape when he took over.
Horrible shape. Oh my good, Stephen. Did you want to respond to that?
Economically, we were in a horrible shape. We were in a horrible shape when Obama took over.
We had nothing but warfare over gay marriage and transsexual bathrooms. Is it like that's the most important thing in all the world?
And I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't agree with the gay marriage.
I'm being fair. Tom,
What?
from day one, they threw everything at him. From the 25th Amendment to Russian collusion. I even bring up Smollett, who they said was, beaten up by 2 Trump supporters, or the Covington Catholic kids who sued CNN, Avenatti. They wouldn't give him any rest. There's nothing he could have done, in my opinion, to alleviate the biased media, which reports 94%
Americans
is anti-Trump.
I disagree. Americans
Those are facts.
Want a successful president.
No, not all the time.
We all do. Yes.
I'm going to be fair. Hold on. Rush Limbaugh said he hoped Obama failed. I'm being fair. No, we don't. We are on different sides.
I've heard many times the other side saying that they. Wait.
In general,
Bill Maher and Politically Incorrect and everyone on down from CNN, MSNBC, and all those talking heads said
Saturday Night Live.
They hope that the economy will fail so that we can get rid of this president. I've seen
that.
I've seen the glitterati show talking about assassinating the president from Snoop Dogg to that stupid
the comedian with the red hair.
You got to be kidding me. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, the art that they have are obese black women holding the heads of white people. Is that peaceful protesting or
no? Of course not.
Peaceful political.
All right, hold on.
I don't know what
I'm going to do something for you. Okay, the accomplishments for Trump. And I've actually had some of these written out. First of which was the tax cuts. That was a great accomplishment. He did something.
That's my number 19th. Tax
Well,
cut
that should have been number
and
one
regulation.
because
Well,
that was
that
that should have been number one in my book.
Yeah.
And the Space Force. What was that? The space when he created a sixth branch of the American the military.
Yeah.
You know, people now, it's like when Reagan started Star Wars. Remember the Star Wars
Well,
program?
he was vilified for that, remember?
And yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the comparison. Even though he may have been vilified in the press, this is actually something very positive.
Let me ask you one question, and I had this discussion with a friend yesterday. How come you haven't seen one article or one documentary that says, wow, Trump came from nothing, the first non-politician, non-military man to become president? It's probably the most miraculous thing we've ever seen in an election. It's never patted on the back.
And against the establishment.
Never.
We're not
Never.
without the
Never.
endorsement of
And
the
against a
Bush
lot of
or
his
anyone
own
else.
party. Never spoken about, Tom.
Yeah.
But they
I
praise
disagree.
Obama as though he's done phenomenal things. I mean, go ahead.
Can
Can I just go down my list? Two more things.
Well, I was actually.
Go ahead, Tom.
adding
Go
to
ahead.
Your list.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I think you touched on it. The First Step Act. Remember that?
I didn't touch on that yet.
Yes, you did. The criminal justice system. how
Okay,
he
yeah,
reformed
okay,
it.
yes.
That's
yes.
called the First Step Act.
Right.
And that's had a lot, and that definitely changed the scope of the leniency that actually should exist in the criminal justice system.
Something a racist would do.
Killing of Abu Bakr, what's his name?
Yes.
The ISIS leader.
Baghdadi and ISIS. That was my 17th one. Thank you.
Well, it should have been number 2. What's the matter with you?
There's so many. Go ahead.
Wait. Let me just add a little bit here and there. Also, when the Obama administration said that we'd be living with the ISIS crisis for at least 2 years, but he cleaned it up. He said he was going to do it in 21 days. He did it in less than 21 days. I thought that was quite amazing.
And may I say one thing, piggybacking on that, Biden was wrong. One general said he's been wrong in every foreign policy move, but many of them thought Trump cannot make deals with Israel and these countries without Iran. Not true. We've made these deals without Iran. We moved the capital to Jerusalem, right?
And it's quite brilliant because the around the Persian Gulf, they're making deals with Israel. Iran is going to have to jump into that, and they're probably going to be forced because of the circumstances to make a deal with Israel. Quite a bit.
And don't forget, he got other countries to contribute more of their military spending to NATO. They were under.
See, that was on my list as well.
There you go.
If anything, he did make the NATO nations contribute their weight in NATO, and you have to give him credit for that. And I don't begrudge it. You can't say that doesn't count. Everything counts.
What about NAFTA? Crushing of NAFTA and the TPP? NAFTA, which destroyed us, took away so many blue-collar jobs, bringing them back.
Suck the living life out of labor. I don't understand how people can say that they love labor and not be critical of NAFTA and the TPP, and not celebrate the return of, was it 12,000 or 17,000 factories?
Can you remind what
NAFTA was a trade deal between NAFTA is a trade deal between the United States, Canada,
even Biden was
and
forced to
Mexico.
say that was miraculous, the MCA.
Okay.
Of course, he had to say, yeah, we thought of it first, like Khrushchev said about the television or whatever. Yeah,
Well, how about this?
What did that entail?
Well, as Ross Perot said in the election, America was going to hear a big sucking sound, meaning a lot of our manufacturing jobs will go across seas,
which is exactly
into
what happened.
Mexico,
And
and that's what happened.
And
Let me ask you something.
On a manufacturing basis.
Okay, hold on, guys. I only have like 7 minutes. My wife's going to come in 7 minutes.
Okay, can I say one thing? Another one.
Go ahead.
For the first time ever, America's energy independent. We're fracking and we're getting oil from America.
Guys,
We don't even need.
I'll give you a couple of things I want to say to tie this up, if you guys don't mind, okay? First of all, Tommy, with all due respect, I disagree. I think unity is not necessarily a virtue. It depends the terms upon which you unify. And I think we're at war. We're in a cultural war. And more than a cultural war, I think we're in not even a Cold War, more than a Cold War that's surreptitious. And with a lot of traitors' forces, don't call me out as being conspirators, whatever you want to into conspiracies, because not every conspiracy is wrong, by the way. And I think there's a lot to say that there is there are forces around the world that have unified with the Chinese communists to give us what they've been promising for many, many decades, from David Rockefeller on up, which is a new world order. Now they call it the Great Reset. For you to believe that we're not at war, then and that everything is not going to fall apart if you lose this, then explain to me the front page of Time magazine that talks about the Great Reset. What in the world is that? We're not asking enough questions and to the right people. Soros and the billionaire class, the ones who control
freedom of speech is
international banking, and have no real loyalty to any countries. They only have loyalty to some sort of a utopian globalist end. But we should beg a lot of questions here. I think they weaponize immigration. I think they want to wreck our economy. That's what this bogus pandemic is all about, and its implications on free speech.
Wait a minute, you think the pandemic is bogus?
I didn't say that it doesn't exist, but what is the rate of infection? What is the death rate of it? It's being used. The death rate is only 0.05% in France. Scientifically speaking, commonsensically, that's not an epidemic. For it to be a pandemic or epidemic, you have to have it to be virulent and to have a very high death rate. It may be virulent, just like the common cold is, but that's about it. Or
the argument is
we're going to shut down the world economy for that?
Yeah. Why do you shut down the world economy?
In the States, it's a little bit more. In the States, it's 0.07%.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And the end of the
war? That's the question. You're going to shut down the economy? And why? I think there's some nefarious things going on.
But they're telling you, but no one...
Let me say one thing. Hold on. You could get...
He doesn't have enough time. All right, good. You're cutting out.
Your doctor in France. Zithromax and Hydro. The cocktail of Zithro and Hydro work. I've had doctors say 100% accurate, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Yes, and Zithromax. And this has been shut down. And the question is, are they trying to get their Green New Deal, where we rely on the government? They got it. Of course. They got their Green New Deal.
By hook or by crook. Hey, so you don't have to agree with what we say, but I think there's going to be enough evidence soon enough that we should revisit this podcast if the forces will allow us to speak so openly, and I think we're going to be proved correct. I was correct for many years about a cultural civil war and how that would turn into a hot war between tribes, quote unquote tribes, based around belief, circles of belief in democracies like the United States. It's all perfectly played out here. Now we're in a perfect civil war scenario because probably the votes are going to come in for Trump tomorrow. Right. But then, the 80 million, 90 million plus unsolicited ballots, this is what they call the red mirage. They're going to say, nah, not legitimately elected. And then we have a war situation. Then it's going to depend on the military and the resolve of the public. I mean, it's a horrible situation here, which they want, and they win. You have to understand this, because what they want to do
count every
is
vote?
neutralize
Count every vote.
Yeah, they want to neutralize. They want to neutralize the United States. Let me just say, because the United States is the only thing stopping the defense of liberal democracy as much as we have it. Go ahead, guys.
Sure. Tommy, you said, should they count every vote? Sure, in a perfect world. But we've been able to vote for 2 months already. Why did they need to get the Supreme Court involved to count votes 3 days after the election without mail being postmarked from a certain day?
But we agreed. I have a problem with that. It should be postmarked by tomorrow for it to count.
But they're not allowing. They say it doesn't have to be postmarked. Don't you understand? And I'll just shut up here, and you could say you have the last word.
I don't have to. It's your podcast.
I'm kidding. Not that it always seems. It is the facts that the Democrats continuously try to throw something else into the soup to change the soup. Because maybe they think they might lose this, and here's another excuse.
Okay, but in terms
of blame it on Russia, blame it on a ballot.
In terms of the lack of unity, the fact that it's been a war from day one when he came down the escalator, it was a war before that. It's been a cultural war since the Civil Rights Movement, but we don't have enough time to get into that. Okay, and it's just grown.
No. I agree.
Let me just say, and primarily the primary victim has been the traditional family. We can all debate about religion, the place of religion, but the traditional family, that should be sacred, especially among our own communities, the Black and Hispanic community, completely decimated. We can argue this and who contributed it.
Oh, yeah,
certainly the permissiveness of the culture, the the countercultural movement, which aligns with Marxism and so on and so forth. That all had its the structure of benefits during the war on poverty and the disincentives or incentives that created. We can talk.
Okay, my wife.
Wait, let me just say,
All right.
in terms of warfare, how could you say unity when he suffered 4 coup attempts in 4 years? I think that's a record. From Russian collusion and spying, the spying network.
Very scary.
To the Ukraine impeachment, but for what? For
They
congratulations.
had a
Hello there. Hello. Wait, to the pandemic.
Thank you.
Hello, guys.
this is my friend in France and his wife.
Oh, hi.
Come on, brothers, man. What's wrong with you, man? Okay.
Rap brothers. All right, we'll continue this another time.
No,
And
it was definitely.
the fourth one is that they want to regardless of
finally able to see each other.
Huh?
All right, buddy.
Hey, can we
Hey.
continue? Can we continue this in a few days after the election, after the dust clears?
Yeah, I would like that.
Pray the rosary. Go to church, you two. Love you.
Hey, invite, dude, invite too, right? You know what I mean?
Look, I sent him this link. I sent him the link. So
I
he
did
said
too.
absolutely not.
I don't know when you said,
All right. God bless.
that mofo, I ain't joining that mofo. That's what he usually talks.
Chris, you want to continue? I want to give some reasons why, some other reasons.
Hey, can you guys throw out
All right,
a
we'll
prayer?
see what happens, guys.
All right,
I
buddy.
like, I like to end on a prayer. Hey, God bless.
Go ahead,
family.
brother. Go ahead. You go. You do it.
God bless. Come on, help me, honey. God bless. For the sake of all souls and all saints, may God have mercy. Hey, I've been devoting myself to Saint Joseph, and it's been the weirdest thing, and it's been reinforced over the last 2 days how important it is to pray for Saint Joseph, the terror of demons, and he goes by the name of the pillar of families. So if you're
All right.
if you're having trouble fighting temptation and the world around us and all its deceptions, pray to Saint Joseph. And also having trouble in our family life, the same thing. God bless you guys.
Bless you.
Take care,
Chris, keep
Chris.
going. Keep going. Get out. Chris, keep going.
Yeah. Oh, you are.
Hey, Steve. Take care, man. Nice.
Take it easy, baby.
Odyssey.
Thanks. Chris, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted, we didn't have enough time, but I have reasons against Biden. No, I do.
Go for it.
There was a general who spoke last week. God, I wish I had his name. But he says Biden has been wrong on every foreign policy issue. Remember, he said China, it's not a threat.
Yeah, but do you think his instincts are wrong or he's just paid off?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. It almost seems,
It's an
as
office
Rudy
for sale.
Giuliani
Foreign
said,
policy for sale.
is he getting paid
Yeah.
by failing in foreign policy? Telling the
Yeah.
Chinese, hey, Iraq wanted me to tell you, you're being too aggressive in taking over these islands. Could we do anything? Well, no. Well, my son's mutual fund, could you give him 1.5 billion?
So that's a good
We'll call
question.
the
Is he a fool or is he playing the fool for profit? I mean, very good question.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
That's
Doesn't matter in the end. We're screwed in any
By the
direction.
way,
right?
was
So he's been wrong. He's been wrong in foreign policy in every aspect.
No,
He
well,
said moving the
one
embassy to
second.
Jerusalem.
wasn't Hillary the Secretary of State
Yeah.
at the time under Biden?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's the one who dealt with foreign issues as number one.
Well, he dealt with China and the Ukraine also.
Ukraine can
He had some
Or himself.
significant.
his little
Yeah.
piggy
But I
bank,
mean,
his
she
particular piggy bank.
she must have been involved as well, no?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, they
Clinton
all know.
Foundation
They
is
all know.
infamous. It's infamous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did
He also-
why did the Clinton Foundation, by the way, have to be the point people for earthquake relief in Haiti? That doesn't make sense. And the people in Haiti, I've spoken to them, and they're pretty educated. And we never saw the money.
Yeah, I know.
And Bill was hanging out with Aristide all the time, again and again.
Right.
Yeah, and I've heard the aid came from so many countries in the
Yeah.
world, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and this. And there were
Yeah.
sometimes billions of dollars.
Right.
Ukrainian won. We could just go through those.
He
Ukrainian.
was wrong.
I heard Serbia needed to make a deal. I think it was Serbia with Obama, and they're like, you need to pay first the Clinton Foundation. Excuse me? Yeah. How
Where'd you
much?
get this?
12 million. They didn't have the money. 12 million. I mean, the Gonzaleses. You guys have more than that. Greg has more.
Yeah.
than
Okay.
that. But they couldn't. They couldn't.
Moving. Okay.
They had to go to like Soros to get the money to pay to the Clinton Foundation
Oh, really?
to get an audience with Obama. Go ahead, man.
Okay. He was wrong about moving the embassy to Jerusalem. He said it'd be disastrous. There'll be bloodshed. Didn't happen.
Well,
C.
we have to wait and see about that one.
Well, I'm just saying so far. See,
Erdo-
he said at the time.
Yeah, but Erdogan is using
Hold
that.
on.
Yeah.
No, he said if they move it, there's going to be bloodshed at that moment. He didn't say 9 years down the road.
No, it's not
He's
9 years, but I think Erdogan is really, using that as a context.
All right. Well, that's a different argument. The Iranian deal, 150 billion given to Iran was disastrous. Why would you give money, even if you owed it, to a country that says death to America, death to Israel? That was ridiculous. Then they stopped one of our ships and had our Navy in a compromising position and paraded that picture all around. Remember, they're on their knees.
Well, they
That was
keep
horrible.
making the same mistake over and over again by giving money.
Well, this is what Rudy Giuliani's saying. Is he being paid off to give these countries leverage? Like, hey, I'm in charge of foreign policy here. Look, don't do this, hink, wink, wink, but help me out. You're able to do whatever you want. That's really scary. He was against actually killing Saddam Hussein. He was one of the only ones who said, no, it's not ready yet. We shouldn't kill him. Not Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's it. Okay, yeah. Okay, got it.
But he was he was for the Gulf War. Then as he ran, he said he was against the Gulf War once bombings occurred.
But to be honest, I never bought the nonsense that they killed bin Laden anyway. No.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Killed bin Laden. Oh, come on, shot in the face. They wipe away all evidence amongst the people there, and then they.
Oh, it's been done before.
Then they unceremoniously throw him out in the Indian Ocean, which is quite an offense to Islam, because you're supposed to be buried with your head face
Right.
Mecca. Come on, no DNA testing, and then the SEAL team, right? Or was it the Delta Force that was involved in that? Yeah, they died in a helicopter crash. A couple of weeks later.
Right.
Come on, nice and tidy. And they make
How about when he said
they make a nice
Antifa
Hollywood movie, out of that too, by the way. And he gets reelected.
How about when he said Antifa is just an idea?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Antifa is just an idea?
Yeah.
Never spoke out against BLM.
Very vicious.
BLM, who says they're Marxists, he never spoke out about them. He never spoke out about them terrorizing politicians and going into restaurants and threatening people.
Yeah, that idea has led to a lot of destruction in our neighborhoods. They burned down much of America, and they've shot people in the front and in the back who are unarmed, who were there for the Trump prayer gatherings and so on and so forth.
It's quite a
That's some beautiful idea, no?
He said in his last debate that he's going to end oil usage. We're nowhere close to having the technology to do that.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Alignment with the Green New Deal again?
No.
This Green New Deal, I don't think people understand what it means.
No.
They're talking about it costing maybe $96 trillion for 10 years. The United States economy is $14 trillion a year.
And replete with bad science. I mean, where's the science behind, with the threat of CO2 and the degree of causation between CO2 and climate change, which seems impossible to prove, but that's why they call it climate change and not climate warming anymore, because they weren't winning the debate of climate warming, so they got to make it more confusing, which is everything and nothing at the same time. So like CO2 and hurricanes, I would imagine, or wild fluctuations of temperature, which I don't know if that's scientifically valid. Wait, and also then
could we?
Wait. The cause of all of that, if it in fact is true, and the solution, this is great, and the burden to the rest of the world, and the balance of cost between allowing CO2 and destroying the world economy and destroying our civil liberties.
Can I ask you, how do you think they'll come up with that type of money? I mean, the economy won't be good anyway.
I don't get that.
So how will they come up with that type of money?
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. It's basically curtains for democracies and capitalism. The only way they could come up with that, they talked about it, is like maybe taxing everyone at an 80% rate.
You got to generate income. I'll tell you why. Now, this is really getting conspiratorial. I'll tell you the answer. Then they tell you very clearly. You saw the study of that organization that's connected to all the military-industrial complex in the UN. They say in 2025 that our population will be reduced by at least 2/3. and our economy will be reduced by about 80 to 90%. So really, maybe the only way to promise and to deliver on the masses is to kill a lot of undesirables off with famine. Okay.
But then it defeats your argument that you
Famine
need
or-
money. You need more people
No.
and money. I get
No,
the
because
balance.
because then it's much easier to take care of a handful.
I understand.
As opposed to instead of 8 billion, they say very clearly, if you're into this type of stuff, that those behind the New World Order want to maintain a sustainable population of no greater than 500 million people. Okay, which is, I guess, back to the Roman era or around that time, the medieval era, maybe medieval Europe. That's crazy.
Look,
I
you
think
said
that
this
is
2
true.
years ago. You said this not 2 years ago, 9 months ago, or maybe 7 months ago, and you were on point. They got their Green New Deal already.
Yeah.
With the shutdowns.
Yeah.
As some of our friends say, this might have been a test run, but this is the Green New Deal already. This is it. And you guys are experiencing it now for another month.
Yeah.
It's very scary where we're going.
No,
here.
even more
It's
scary,
obvious.
maybe, even more scary is that, unbelievably, they say that about 75% of the French population accept the lockdown, and they want to extend it,
Yeah.
extend it to December or beyond December. This is crazy.
I don't know
And there
if
are elements
it's
in the
false
United Nations,
information,
but there's elements in the
it's-
United Nations, including, I think, Bill Gates, and I think Soros and people in WHO, they say this is a permanent state of being, that we're going to have to deal with
Right.
vaccines, amongst the population forced upon us, obviously, five or something each year, and that lockdowns and masks are a permanent state of being now. This, I don't
The
understand.
new normal.
The new, and people say, "Oh, you're exaggerating." Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, I didn't even have the time to tell our frat brother, I thought you were going to bring up the physician from France who's done numerous stories with hydro, number one, and all the doctors in America who are saying, look, this works, months ago.
Yeah.
And they were shut down. They were shut down in the media. I think some might have been fired.
Yeah. So once again, this is Dide Raoul, who's a leading epidemiologist. Would you say?
Right.
In the world.
Came out.
Well, certain infectious diseases in the
Yes.
world. He's the one
ID.
who
Yeah.
championed hydroxychloroquine
Yes.
many decades ago. He is by far the greatest mind in this area when it comes to infectious
3,000
diseases.
articles.
And he's joined by other boffins that are incredibly well respected, like Luc Montagnier. Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation.
Nobel Prize. in
Nobel
Medicine.
Prize winner. And it's funny because when we talk about, whether we're being conspiratorial or not, explain to me why hydroxychloroquine, which is like the most well-respected and well-researched cure of sorts for infectious diseases like malaria, and proven to be such now for COVID, why it was on the list of prohibited medications before this
Right
pandemic,
before
right before this
yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything
Like
about it being
days
poison.
before the pandemic.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and by the way, when it comes to poison, everything is poison and nothing is poison. It depends on quantity. Of course, there are risks.
What about, of course, what about the doctors and
But it's
nurses
the most
in
effective.
America who have said anyone that dies, they put the COVID tag on them? I've heard that in videos.
Here's-
I don't know what is valid or what isn't. I'm just giving you what I'm hearing.
They're saying that too. Like, for instance, there are stories, some people have told us stories, that a woman whose grandmother died at 80 years old of cancer, she received a death certificate from the hospital and it said COVID. So she was dying of cancer. She died of cancer, but maybe she happened to have COVID at the same time. They put it as a COVID death, and it's not COVID.
Can you explain the
There
story?
are some,
Well, how many have died of COVID alone? The number's small. The number's small.
I think it was actually through the UN body itself that some said that in the United States, if you only look at only COVID-related deaths, that it's about 9,000. Right? I forgot what the source.
Yeah, that was a couple months ago. 9,000 was the number. Yeah.
Yeah, but what was the source of that? Who said that?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll get it for you.
Was it a UN body? Because I thought it was an official body. Can you tell
No,
me-
it was. I think it was the CDC,
Oh.
Center for Disease
Can you
Control.
tell a story about the man who was elderly seeking medicine and he went to the hospital. What happened? And they found COVID on him. What happened?
Oh, yes. So
This happened in France.
So that was
Recently.
in Brittany where my parents went, and we saw the
so sorry.
gentleman who had a guest house, and he told us about a friend of his whose father used to go every month for treatment for a respiratory disease. It was not an epidemic or anything. It's just an inborn disease that he's developed. And every month he used to go once a month to the hospital to receive a treatment.
Mhm.
And during the COVID crisis, he went to the hospital as he usually goes, and he never came back. So the family calls and says, what happens? My father went to the hospital as usual, and he never came back. Oh, they said he died.
Huh.
And they were shocked.
He
They
died.
said he died of COVID. And
you show up for a treatment and they say you died of
and
COVID.
so yeah, and so they went to the hospital, like a couple of them, and and they said, no, you cannot see your father. And so they and then they said that's the rule. COVID patients, they have to be in a room, isolated, and the family cannot see them. So then she went back with another 7 people. They banged on the doors. They said, we want to go in. We want to see my father.
Yeah, you have to assert
etc.
yourself sometimes.
I think
So
it's
they were
only-
scared because there were a lot of people. So, and then they finally let them in. One of the people there was a nurse, happened to be a nurse, and he said, let me just take a blood sample of that, of the father who was dead. And he went to the lab, and they happened to had a medication called Rivotril, which is a palliative care medication for people with respiratory disease.
You understand?
Essentially, it increases the respiratory illness in a person. So, of course, if you have COVID, you're suffering from that, or any other respiratory disease, then it's increasing the discomfort, maybe creating the death.
How long was he gone for before the family interceded?
Like immediately after?
Like a day after.
Oh, a day. Okay.
The bottom line is, it's tell me if I'm wrong here, that it's allowable in French law for
that particular medication
wait,
to be
in other words,
given
you
as palliative
yeah,
care.
but the point is
Yeah.
that medical professionals are allowed to euthanize, to kill
Yeah.
elderly or all patients
That's-
if they have COVID.
This was done intentionally then?
Yes.
No, it doesn't say euthanasia, but yes, it's given intentionally, and
What was it?
because it's not, there's a recommendation
How is that not euthanasia?
not to give that medication to people with respiratory disease, so it ends up killing people.
Okay, guys, I've been in pharmaceuticals for 20 years. Sometimes most doctors don't know the interactions of products.
No,
You
this one
telling
is
me they
actually
did this on
I'm
purpose?
asking you, did they do this on purpose?
Yes,
To kill 'em
it's
all.
given on
To kill 'em.
purpose because in the books, the recent COVID books, they say we're allowing that particular medication called Rivotril for COVID patients to alleviate their pain and make them go slow.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Wait, the point that I'm asking.
This is a pain medication
Yeah,
that affects
It's a
the lungs.
palliative care
the
medication.
people who allowed this medication in that particular case without the will of the patient, by the way, or the family.
Yeah.
Does it have an effect of euthanizing COVID?
Yes, it
That's
does.
what I'm asking.
It does have an effect of
Okay.
euthanizing,
Euthanizing.
of killing patients.
So the allegation was that person was killed and
Yes.
did not have COVID.
So
there was that
So
medication,
they
but there was no
filed-
COVID.
So they filed for murder. Yes, the family filed for
Okay,
murder.
there you go. All right.
Murder? Okay.
Yeah, they called murder because the family was not informed about that medication, and the patient was not informed. He never signed anything, and so he was given without knowing that he was going to be given that medication.
I got you. I understand.
There's
All right, let me go back to Biden.
You want to tie it in?
Re-
Bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Maybe we should.
Let me just finish up here.
Okay.
this is not debatable. His mental makeup, he's not there most of the time.
No, well,
Yeah,
no.
He
Well,
looks
no,
like
no,
senile.
Wait,
I have a debate.
talk about his.
I have a
Go
debate
ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Is he playing the fool or is he
No.
the fool? Once again, man.
No, he's not there mentally, dude.
All right.
You could tell. I mean, I don't know how that's going to sell. What people are going to feel sorry for him?
Yeah, they do.
And let's vote.
I've heard that. Because you have the
Oh.
bully. You have the bully Trump in light of the avuncular, poor man.
I think that's really far-fetched. I think most people want someone who's on the ball to some degree. Okay, so his mental makeup, some of his gaffes. You ain't black if you don't vote for me. These are his quotes.
Yeah.
Remember when he said, you can't go to a 7-Eleven without a slight Indian accent? And he's like, I'm serious. Okay. How about this? When he said about Obama,
He makes
I
me
mean,
laugh, though.
you got the first mainstream African-American who is articulate and bright and clean and nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man. That's a storybook, man.
I mean, is that because Obama is like corn pop or very different from corn pop?
Well, I was going to bring up the corn pop one where he's bragging about kids touching his legs.
Oh, and the
He learned to enjoy kids sitting on his lap, and he learned to like roaches.
Oh, no. Flo, come.
How about all the touching, kissing, and smelling of kids? The videos, bizarre.
He whispers in the ear. Do you hear what he says all the time?
Yeah, what do you think he's saying? Corn
he
pop?
No, he always says the same thing. He always goes, don't date until you're 30 or something like that. It's really weird. Don't date.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, like, if I was 9, I'd be after you, I was age 9, 70 years younger, You and I have to agree with, if abortion, late-term abortion on demand.
No, wait. Going back to Biden, because that's the thing that I like the most about him. It makes me laugh, man.
Oh, it's so hilarious. Did you see at the last debate when Trump says, and your son got $3 million from the mayor of Russia? And he's looking at him like, what? I never heard of this. This is ridiculous. Like, what?
So he doesn't remember this.
There's so much bullshit.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me before the debate? That's outrageous.
And then about a week ago, he was with his wife like this, and because she has to help him out and nudge him and whisper in his ear.
Oh yeah, all the time.
He goes, we can't stand 4 more years of that George fella.
Right.
He thinks he's running against George Bush.
Well, what about last night? He's at a debate. I mean, he's speaking, and he's wearing Delaware Blue Hens. That's why he went to school. Jacket. And he says, I'm here in Philadelphia. My wife's a Philly girl. That's why I'm wearing an Eagle jacket. He wasn't wearing an Eagle jacket. And then he said something, Chris, that was so outrageous. Like, I'm paraphrasing, I'm off, but he said, and we got to Trump.
Oh, yeah,
like, I'm not making it up. I couldn't.
Yeah.
So, something's wrong.
Yeah, but it's really weird because then you have this contrast. You have the old avuncular man who's losing his mind, and then you got this evil, angry-looking woman. God forbid you don't say her name perfectly well, even though she herself doesn't pronounce her own name, accurately. Come on. So Tucker was called out by Don Lemonhead and such by saying Kamala that he's a racist. He's a racist by saying Kamala. But then Julia Louis-Dreyfus had to, at the DNC convention, make fun of Tucker, of Trump's name and Pence's name. It didn't even make any sense. There goes.
Silly.
I mean, it's silly, mature. Anyway, but it's funny because even I almost made a mistake. I got to edit that part. Kamala actually referred to herself as Kamala, for goodness sake, just the other day. Can you believe this? What a control freak. Hey, did you see that trick or treat spot that I gave you? Trick or treat?
No, I didn't see it. I'll see it. How about what Bernie Sanders says, that his agenda is the most liberal since FDR? So they're telling you what they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to have medical care that is all under the umbrella of Medicare for all.
Yeah.
So that means eliminating private insurance.
Yeah.
And who's going to pick up the slack but us? I don't know if you're not familiar with Obamacare, but I'll give you some examples. I have friends, Before Obamacare were paying $300 a month. Their bill went up to $500 a month, $600 a month. And their deductible was from $500 before, now it's $10,000. So you have to spend $10,000 first before you touch the insurance. And Biden, this is probably the number one thing, man. Besides Antifa, BLM, and being a Marxist, they're against charter schools, man. And that will be our next one that we'll do. They're against charter schools.
They're against the liberty of choice of families and students who are in the poorest condition. Right?
Sure.
Among, Black, Hispanic, and other poverty-stricken situations. The same choice that they themselves enjoy because they're privileged.
It seems
doesn't
to
make
me
any
that
sense
what's happening
only to prop
right
up
now,
public education and the UFT, as you say, the teacher community.
it's,
But also, I'm just saying, the last thing is there's a culturally Marxist end to this, and that is to promote propaganda such as rewriting history and looking at history in an imbalanced and unfair way or inaccurate way in order to perpetuate the argument that they're victims. Victims against the intersectionality of those who are white, male, Christian, successful heteros. Go ahead. What was you going to say?
yeah, it seems to me that what's happening in Europe is exactly what would happen if Biden won.
Yeah.
You should talk about refugees too. I'm talking about refugees too.
Favoring foreign entities to come in.
That's what we were trying to get out of you, is a favoring of foreign entities as opposed to, French citizens. They dumped on the own.
If he wins, the immediate impact will be...
Especially for business. When it comes to business, yes. When it's really what I told you, refugees do get some kind of a package, but it's never going to be as much money as.
But what is the package is what I'm asking you. Do you have free housing?
Not really. It's free shelter. It's not really housing, no.
What does that mean?
Bad conditions, essentially.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought a lot of them were getting apartments in the middle of France.
What do you say?
They weren't getting apartments in the middle of France by the Louvre?
No, it's really only when you have a big protest and you have the associations involved. But no, normally not. No.
Okay, anyway.
So wait, free shelter, you're living on this, right? Food stamps, whatever. They're living on the government.
They get some food stamps. I'm not really sure. They certainly get free medical care. That was the reason why they gave a ton of refugee statuses to people who came illegally, even though they were not refugees. That was so-called to treat them from COVID. So they gave them that because they get free medical care.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, let me just say.
And they probably get a tiny amount of money for.
But the bottom line is, one of the immediate consequences of a Biden-Harris win is that they're going to lower the border. They're going to destroy the wall and any legal impediments for anyone to come into the country, in the United States. Going to encourage so-called political refugees, and we could debate what that
20,000, 20 million, they say, will be able to vote.
So I am very worried about the tens and tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people who come in who have the express will to destroy America. Maybe they don't have the express will, but they certainly hold dear to certain beliefs, maybe jihadist type beliefs or fundamentalist type beliefs that don't work well within a liberal democratic system like the United States. Certainly wherein they would not respect the fundamental rights and liberties of the U.S. Constitution. On the other hand, there'll be those who will try to, destroy America. There'll be probably a narco-trafficking elements involved in this, and those who will join gangs in the underground economy and the connection to drugs in the streets or small-town America. So I think that's all over the horizon very quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
And what else is in the agenda if they win this? Is talk about packing the court.
Packing the court.
I don't know
if
how
people
they'll do this.
if they fully understand the impact of that. To pack the court means that you destroy the judiciary, certainly the Supreme Court, as a third.
You have 6 more justices that you put
co-equal
in.
branch of the government. So there will be the end of that checks and balance process between the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Which the court guarantees.
Packing
Because
the
it
court,
respects the U.S. Constitution. We would hope.
having 20 million illegals vote and become citizens.
Yeah.
They'll probably get assistance, most of them, so they'll vote Democrat. Possibly changing the electoral college.
Electoral.
I mean, there's so many things that these people want to do. Making Puerto Rico a state and Washington, D.C. a state, so they could push 4 more Democratic senators. Scary stuff.
Okay,
A part of me, you're going to say I'm insane or I like punishment. I want Trump to win. I want to preserve Western culture. A part of me wants to see what the hell happens if he doesn't.
You hear this?
I really do. I know it's crazy. No, part of me wants to say, go up to someone's house. Look, their apartment was once worth $500,000. Now it's worth $200,000. Well, what happened? I told you, dummy. I told you.
Yeah.
No, they're taxing me 30% more. Told you, dummy.
No, but people never learn, and it doesn't matter. They were complaining that's why Trump won. They were complaining under the Obama administration, and he's won. But, they never learn, they never do. But I can tell you, if Biden wins, it's he's going to carry on the same policies as the EU, and I can tell it's the same agenda. And it's going to be a complete disaster. I'm so scared of what's going to happen to France. And we have, our hands are tied. And because it doesn't matter. You protest, they don't care. They do anything they want because they have the police, they have the guns, they have the power. And they have the backing of all the EU member states. And they never get prosecuted. So they do whatever they want, and it's all against the people. And I think with Biden, it will complete the circle, because I think it will be America and all the Western countries.
I think we should tie this up. And there are 2 things.
Yep.
There's so many.
There's also talk about Biden pushing another shutdown, like what's happening in Europe.
Well, you already said he said a dark winter is coming. And he was alluding, I think, to a report by Johns Hopkins before 9/11 in the year 2000. Right. They call it the dark winter, and it had to do with a pandemic and the impact of a pandemic.
That was pretty chilling when he heard that. Trump mentioned that in his speech yesterday.
Just like I'm into this occultic type stuff. Just like, why did George Bush in his inauguration, maybe the first or second, maybe the 2 of them, why did he make reference to the angel in the whirlwind? What does that even mean?
I never heard that one.
Well, take a look at it. Take a look at it. And he makes reference, he mentions more than once in the same speech, the angel in the whirlwind. I heard that when they get
Where is that from?
The inauguration of George Bush.
Is that
the inauguration of George Bush Jr.
No, where is that term from? Is that from the Bible or something?
I think there's a reference to something like that in the Bible, but I heard it has very powerful Masonic significance.
I'm looking it up.
And apparently, like the most important Masonic lodge in the entire world is in D.C. And they have an occultic ceremony, apparently, when the presidents are inaugurated to curse the country, so we can, so they could precipitate the new world order that they seek.
Angel in the Whirlwind is an epic tale of the American Revolution, from its roots among tax-weary colonists to the triumphant Declaration of Independence. It's a book, but that's not the only thing, I guess.
I think there's an occultic connection to it. I've heard that more than once. Tom Horn talked about that. You want to reference him. Anyway, there are a couple of things that we really need to focus on, and we haven't gotten a chance, which is democratically run cities. I mean, how could you argue against that?
Do it next time.
And we're all from New York, except for this Gallic beauty over here. All right, goodness sake. But anyway, the way New York City and how it's spiraling out of control, and I don't know if they're ever going to recover from that. And the other thing is the impossibility, it seems to me, to hold in one vision that's reconcilable between your devotion to Christianity and its virtues And,
Yeah, we did.
and the political left as we now see it. Yeah, I'm just saying there's so many things that we have to. I have voluminous notes over here that I want to get through.
Yeah.
And we should,
So
we
we'll
should
do
do
it
that
next time.
in a few days after the election, after the smoke clear. By the way, we have
Yeah, all right, you got it.
we have to talk with Father Mario. Don't forget.
All right, have a good one, guys. God bless.
All right.
Sounding off.
God bless America. God bless America. Vive la France. Oh, wow, we look good. We look like we're meant to be together. Give me a kissing.
Hola, hola, aquí desde el estudio, los tres de La Habana.
Oye, señoras y señores, acabamos de terminar la versión en inglés. La van a escuchar dentro de poco. Compartan, compartan.
La vamos a poner ahora mismo, la terminamos y ahí están escuchando la música. Y entonces, sí, van a escuchar la nueva versión en inglés. ¿Verdad, caballero? Mira quién está aquí. Miren quiénes están ahí.
Y tenemos sorpresa. Oliver saluda y hola.
Hola. Y en esta nueva versión hay sorpresas.
Sorpresa linda.
Oye, gracias a todos ustedes. Han hecho la canción viral, caballero. Gracias a todos ustedes que han hecho el tema viral. Se ha viralizado. Nos han escrito de España, de Argentina, de Chile, de todos lados. Pero gracias a todos ustedes por compartirla y por apoyarnos. Gracias, se los agradecemos de todo corazón. Así que nada, compartan ahí, compartan el live que vamos a poner la canción en inglés. Así que muchas personas nos dicen, oye, tengo un amigo en que habla solamente inglés. ¿Cómo hago? No sé qué, le mandé la canción y el coro le encantó, pero ¿cómo hacemos? Entonces, bueno, dijimos, mira, vamos a hacer una versión en inglés. Y la terminamos ahora mismo. Así que... arriba, caballero, aquí están escuchando, ¿ok? Oiga la música como está, a votar por Trump, vamos.
Ya casi viene ya.
Ahí estamos.
No te veo.
Ah, mi Diaco ahí.
Caballero, agradecidísimo de todos ustedes. Felices de ver si me comparto en mi propia página, porque esto es una locura.
Y dan mi saludo.
Agradecerles de todo corazón, porque ustedes son los que hacen posible que gente que no nos conocía, ahora nos conoce. Y nada, esto, cuando las cosas salen del corazón, salen del alma,
Sí.
camina.
Ya ha sido, y ya explicamos ya que esto fue una coincidencia de que fuimos a hacer una fiesta y se me ocurrió el coro, lo hicimos y se hizo viral y la gente empezó a pedir que hiciéramos la canción. Por ustedes hicimos la canción y ahora nos pidieron que hicieran la versión en inglés y la acabamos de terminar ahora mismo. Enseña ahí, papá, Pro Tools. Enseña Pro Tools. Ahora mismo acabamos de terminarla aquí.
Compartan.
Y nada, es por ustedes y queremos compartir.
Ahí está Pro Tool, sonando ya.
Ahí está.
Ok.
Y ahí tenemos batería, mira para
Míralo
allá.
ahí, míralo ahí, ya te la ves.
Míralo ahí, dale.
Míralo ahí, efectivamente.
Nada, esto viene por tremenda canción, se pegó. Gracias. Saludos de Kentucky. Compartí en varios grupos. Gracias, caballero. Gracias.
Esa es la cosa, caballero. Compártanlo ahí.
¡Afre! ¡Saludos!
¡Enfermera! Compártalo ahí, que ahí vamos a poner la nueva versión que está a punto de arrancar.
Bueno, pues
Ok.
voy a llegar a parte de la obra de esta canción. Al resto del
Oye, pues.
Oye, y nada, no sé si algunos saben la noticia ya que Trump y Melania, bueno, tienen el COVID. Ya yo lo pasé, así que nada, lo que podemos desear es que pronta recuperación y para adelante, y que el 3 de noviembre gane. Porque nosotros somos trumpistas, nosotros vamos a votar por Trump.
Bueno, ustedes mandan, ustedes son los que mandan. Díganme si quieren escuchar la canción para ponerla. Ya la vamos a poner. Quedó súper chévere. Ya saben que es la misma música, pero ¿cómo se llama? Bueno, pusimos una letra más o menos parecida.
Con nuestro inglés chamusqueado ahí.
Con el inglés nosotros.
Y con la ayuda de...
Y con la ayuda de Vida, por supuesto.
La vida nos ayudó muchísimo. Y otra persona que nos ayudaron también, Marlene Macea, nos ayudó, nos tiró tremendo cabo también, nuestra publicista. Así que.
Nada, esperamos que les guste, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Los baby de la casa que ya lo talarean.
¿Ya quieren escucharla?
Vamos,
pongan,
diga que sí, que la vamos a poner ya arriba.
Afre, un saludo, hermano.
Oye, y ustedes, caballeros, las personas que tengan por ahí que hablan inglés, los amigos, familiares,
Quieren
etcétera,
compartirlo,
mándensela. Y si la quieren escuchar, la quieren tener en MP3, igual nos mandan un mensaje y se la envío para allá por WhatsApp, sin problema. No tienen ni que pagar un peso ni nada. Lo que queremos es que la tengan.
Pero ya pronto sale en todas las plataformas digitales. Dentro de 2 días algo así va a salir ya en iTunes, Spotify, todos los lugares. Para que la pongan en su casa, la fiesta y celebren.
Esa es la cosa. Bueno, la voy a poner, ¿ok?
Dice, tírala ya.
La voy a poner
Lucy, un besote, Lucy Grau.
ya. Ok, besote. Voy a ponerla. Vamos a ponerla ya. Vamos para allá. Dice
Are
así.
you ready?
Ven, Oliver.
¿Listo todo el mundo?
Sí.
Mira, el niño está listo también.
¿Listo todo el mundo? Vamos para allá.
Vamos.
Listo.
¡Vamos!
Tírala.
Dice. Espérate, vamos a quitar el mute. Vamos a quitar el
Y espérate que
mute.
yo no me la sé, tengo que leerla.
Bueno, vamos a aclarar que la letra la acabamos de hacer, usted sabe, la hicimos nueva y entonces no la sabemos.
Sobre todo
Tengan paciencia, no la sabemos completa.
No
Sobre
pasa
todo la
nada.
mayor de
No
la-
pasa
del
nada. Lucy, un
Nada.
besote. Bueno, ahí va el tema, caballero. Va el tema para allá.
Vamos.
Vamos para allá. Dice.
Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. The people gonna to vote, no fear, no more. Vote for Trump.
Vaya.
Vote for Trump. If you wanna keep America great, vote for Trump. I vote for Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
I don't believe in fake news. All I need is the truth. Because we love our country, we love it just like you. Economy,
For Trump.
life is good.
For Trump.
Because we love our country, we love it just like you.
Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote.
¡Sorpresa!
I will vote
Ahora.
for Donald Trump.
If you feel proud to be America, raise your hand, God bless America.
If you feel proud to be America,
Raise your hand, God bless America.
oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. I love my freedom. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Everybody to the right, I already chose my side.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Let's go. Land of the free, home of the brave. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. I know you, Miami. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
¡Para Yuma!
¡Para
Oye,
yuca!
nos la estábamos aprendiendo ahí porque grabamos
No sé
así.
todavía.
No, es que la letra, oye, fue como enredado hacer la letra esa para nosotros. ¿verdad?
Caballero, compártalo.
Esperamos que se entienda.
Comparte. ¿Cómo diríamos en inglés?
Share.
Bueno, y vieron la nueva voz de los tres de La Habana.
Ahí está, hecha.
Haz un pedacito ahí a capela, a ver si puedes. Dale, dilo, mami. Dale. Sí, dilo, papi te lo dice, dale.
To be American.
¿Cómo es?
If you feel proud to be American,
Woo.
raise your hand. God bless America.
Caballero, pero yo tengo que decir la verdad aquí, mira. Aquí todo el mundo lloraba cuando esa chiquita cantó. Mi papá no podía grabarse, yo era las lágrimas cayéndome aquí. Mi papá. Ay, Dios mío. Qué orgullo, qué orgullo.
Ver a mis hijos así es impresionante. De
Qué
verdad,
linda,
de
Dios
verdad.
mío. Cuando le dijimos,
Porque
Tuti, dale, embúyate, canta.
Porque aquellas personas que no nos conocen, les aclaro,
Sí.
el man es mi esposo,
Marcando
Wilson
territorio.
y Vida son mis hijos. Allá está mi otra hija que es Magela, que es mi nuera, que es la bajista de los Tres de La Habana.
Mis dos
Y
chiquiticos.
los dos niños, que son los dos nietos. Ahí están. Toda la familia.
Toda la familia aquí.
Bueno, casi todas.
Bueno, falta gente.
Allá afuera
Hay gente. Lo que pasa es que no cabe todo el
El
mundo.
abuelo, las tías,
No cabe todo el
los
mundo.
sobrinos.
Oye, gracias, caballero. Gracias por
Ojito.
los comentarios, qué lindo.
El Joshua.
Dice, vida medio pescado.
No, la vida está de madre. Pues, caballero, ¿les gustó el tema? Lo voy a poner otra
¿Quieres
vez.
escucharlo de nuevo?
Lo voy a poner otra vez.
Sí, dice Vida. Tú sabes que estos tiempos son de tecnología y de nuevas aplicaciones. ¿Cómo es? ¿TikTok?
Sí,
¿En TikTok lo vamos a hacer?
Lo vamos a hacer.
Vamos a ver, que nos sigan en TikTok, ya tenemos la página.
Vida nos
Villa abrió la página de TikTok.
En los Tres de La Habana.
Los
Ahí
tres
está.
de la
Ahí
en
está.
TikTok.
Nos están ayudando. nos están
Chévere,
ayudando.
chévere. Oye,
Caballero,
caballero, un
vamos a
abrazo
saludar,
para todo el
vamos a
mundo.
saludar un poco.
Ángela y Danet, Judy, abrazo.
Niña,
Ariana.
gracias. Hermosos los niños, gracias.
Dale, Gui.
Gretel,
José.
esta se llama Gretel Trump. O sea, la familia de Trump.
Wow.
No, chico, ¿qué es?
Lorena Cabrera.
¿No se llama así?
¿Así?
Delia, Belloania,
Lucy
Miriam
ahora son cuatro. Qué
Márquez.
lindo.
Todo el mundo está por ahí, caballero.
Foros Yuca,
Gracias.
dice Lucy Grau. Foros Yuca.
Gracias, caballero, gracias. Vamos a poner el tema otra vez.
Abrazo,
que,
Ernesto, abrazo.
para que ya saben, para que lo tengan, lo escuchen. Lo vamos a subir después. Y nada, y compártanlo.
Y caballero, salgan a
Compártanlo.
votar el día 3 de noviembre. No nos importa si nos dicen lo que quieran decirnos en las redes sociales. Hay gente mandándonos muchos saludos muy lindos. Hay gente que dicen, esto es comunista, o no sé qué cosa, que le cantaban a Fidel, Elian. Cuando en la vida nosotros le cantamos a Fidel, Elian? Pero bueno, no
Hay
importa.
un reto.
gozan, ellos
Sí,
disfrutan
claro,
eso.
pero comenten. Eso. Y sacan a votar todos.
Como decía tu abuelo, bien o mal, pero que hablen.
Sí.
Y nada, hoy un reto, ¿tú sabes cuál
Ah,
es?
el reto, claro.
Que
¿Cuál
pongan
es?
un pedacito del coro. No, yo es que iba a hacer dos retos, pero no solo uno.
ya.
Un pedacito del coro y que la
Y
gente
ya
cante.
otra ola, le agradecemos de verdad.
Oye,
Otra ola,
otra,
Alex.
sí.
Mil gracias porque
Nelson Rubio,
Nelson
desde
Rubio.
Mambí con Ninosca Pérez Castellano.
Vamos a hacer un
también.
poco de historia que esta semana como ha sido una locura. Nos han
esto
llamado
ha sido-
de todas
ha
partes del
sido-
mundo.
Ha sido
Gente
increíble.
desde Argentina que son trompistas. Desde Argentina, trompistas. Desde España.
Desde España pidiéndonos el tema que quieren
Desde
hacer
todas
allá
partes.
también.
Desde
en una
Alemania.
parte.
Desde Alemania.
desde,
Y de Estados
wow.
Unidos de todas partes. Hemos hecho entrevistas como locos.
Increíble, increíble. Y desde Cuba también, nos han
Cuba
escrito
también.
de Cuba.
Mucha
Hay
gente
gente,
de Cuba.
en Cuba la gente, oye, yo también voy a votar por Trump.
Pero
Desde
nada,
Cuba.
ahí están haciendo un reto. Otaola está haciendo un reto. Bueno, estamos soltando a la gente que se graben con el video, con la bandera americana,
bandera
cantando
americana.
el tema, haciendo el coro.
O cantando el tema. No,
Y que lo suban.
oye, recibí un video simpaticísimo de una señora con una escoba. Estaba en la televisión, estaba Biden diciéndole cosas a Biden y diciendo, no, mira, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump. Buenísimo, buenísimo.
A mí,
Y
me
así
gustó
cantidad de gente.
me gustó la que le dijo a la otra. La otra dijo, no, pues yo voy a votar por Biden. Dice la otra, ve a verte eso.
No, eso está genial.
Vamos a hacer una canción con eso.
Ve a verte eso.
Ve a
Ve
verte
a
eso,
verte
que
eso,
está-
que está mal.
No, no importa, que vote por
El tema
quien.
es que-
No importa, caballero, este
deja
país
que
es-
dé,
Este
Nosotros
país es
vamos a votar
grande.
por Trump.
Este país es grande, este país es grande.
Pero cada cual que vote por quien quiera.
Este país es grande. Oye, caballero, mi gente, voy a poner el tema desde
Vamos,
arriba. Voy a poner el tema desde arriba una vez más. Y nos fuimos, que yo sé que ustedes...
Y dice Vida que le recuerde a la gente que vayan a TikTok que podemos hacer el reto en TikTok, ¿verdad? Hacerlo,
Ok,
divertirnos.
perfecto. Que yo sé que ustedes tienen cosas que hacer ahí, no queremos demorarlos mucho. Vamos para allá, ¿ok? Vamos para allá.
Let's go. Oh my, I will vote.
¡Arriba!
I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. The people go out to vote, no fear no more. Vote for Trump. Let's go. Vote for Trump. Gracias, compadre.
Gracias, caballero. Nos vemos. Besos a todo el mundo.
Vienen más
Gracias.
sorpresas, vienen más sorpresas.
God bless America. God bless America. Nos vemos, caballero. Un abrazo fuerte.